Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, Swami Gopmati, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayat Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanabhaya, Namo Pankajamalini, Namo Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangri. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 10, verses 11 to 30. Dhruva Maharaja's fight with the Yakshas. Text 11 and 12. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaja. With full strength, they showered upon Maharaja Dhruva along with their chariot and charioteers. Various types of feathered arrows, parigras, iron bulgeons, nistrimas, swords, prasasulas, tridents, paraswadhas, lanes, saktis, pikes, rishtis, spears, and busundi weapons. Text 13. Dhruva Maharaja was completely covered by the insistent showers of weapons, just as the mountain is covered by the insistent rainfall. Text 14. All the Siddhas from the higher planetary system were observing the fight from the sky, and when they saw the Dhruva Maharaja had been covered by the insistent arrows of the enemy, they wrote tremendously, "The grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost." They cried that Dhruva Maharaja was just like the sun, on that now he had set within the ocean of the Yakshas. Text 15. The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed that they had conquered Dhruva Maharaja. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot suddenly appeared, just as the sun suddenly appears from within foggy mist. Text 16. Dhruva Maharaja's bow and arrows twanged and hissed, causing lamentations in the hearts of his enemies. He began to shoot incensed arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as the blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. Text 17. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaja pierced the shields and bodies of the enemies, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains. Text 18 and 19. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, the heads of those who were cut into pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaja were decorated very beautifully with earrings and turbans. The legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees. Their arms were decorated with the golden bracelets and armlets, and on their heads there were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on the battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the minds of a hero." Text 20. The remaining Yakshas were somehow or other were not killed and had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva Maharaja. Thus they began to flee, just as elephants flee when defeated by an lion. Text 21. Dhruva Maharaja, the best of the human being, observed that in that great battlefield, not one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. He then desired to see the city of Alakapuri, but he thought of himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic yakshas. Text 22. In the meantime, while Dhruva Maharaja doubtful of his mystic enemies, he talked with his charioteers. They headed a tremendous sounds, and as if the whole ocean were there. And they found that from the sky a great dust storms was coming over them from all directions. Text 23. Within a moment, the whole sky was overcast with dense clouds, and a severe thundering was heard. There was glittering electric lightning and severe rainfall. Text 24. My dear faultless figura, in that rainfall there was blood, mucus, pus, stools, urine, and marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaja, and there were trunks of bodies falling from the sky. Text 25. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky, and from all directions hailstones fell, along with lances, clubs, swords, iron bulgeons, and great pieces of stone. Text 26. Dhruva Maharaja also saw many big serpents with angry eyes vomiting forth fire and coming to divorce him, along with groups of mad elephants, lions, and tigers. Text 27. Then, as if they were the time of dissolution of the whole world, the fierce sea with foaming waves and great roaring sounds came forward before him. Text 28. The demons, yakshas, are by nature very heinous, and by their demonic power of illusion, they can create many strange phenomena to frighten one who is less intelligent. Text 29. When the great sages heard that Dhruva Maharaja was overpowered by the illusionary mystic tricks of the demons, they immediately assembled to offer him auspicious encouragement. Text 30. All the sages said, Dear Dhruva, O son of King Uttanapada, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead knows a Sangadhanva who relieves the distress of his devotees, kill all your threatening enemies. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus, a devotee is saved. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhruva Maharaj Fight with the Yakshas. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mati.
Sorry, Prabhuji, if there is any mistakes, I couldn't read the words.
That's okay, Mati, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, Vamsi will improve. When you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatyade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We are continuing chapter 10 of 4th Canto, where still continuing to study Dhruva Maharaj's pastime. And in this chapter, Dhruva Maharaj is engaging in fight with the Yakshas. Just a recap. So what we are seeing is Dhruva Maharaj, when he went for excursion once, hunting excursion, not he, his brother Uttama, he was actually killed by a powerful Yaksha in the Himalayan mountains, and along with him, his mother Suruchi also followed the path of her son. She also died. This is what we saw yesterday in summary. Some important lesson from that particular incident for all of us practicing Krishna consciousness. Very subtle lesson that is being mentioned by our acharyas is that when Dhruva Maharaj was actually chastised by Suruchi, when Dhruva Maharaj became Krishna conscious before having the darshan of Shripad Narad Muni, and by his grace actually seeing Lord Vishnu, even before all this happened, Suruchi chastised Dhruva Maharaj. And because of that fact, she didn't know that Dhruva Maharaj was a devotee. I mean, he was not a devotee. He had not seen, he didn't know who Krishna was, nothing. But because she had chastised or criticized and spoke in such a way that his heart was pained by her words, Krishna took it seriously. So such a big lesson for us to learn. Our acharyas say that we should not even hurt any living entity. What to speak of just devotees? Who knows who's going to be a devotee in the future? None of us know, right? Krishna knows. Krishna is the knower of past, present, and future, and his pure devotees know who the past, present, and future. A conditioned soul like myself, I don't know past, present, and future. I don't know what happened to me 10 years ago. I'm completely forgetful. So we should be very careful how we deal with people in general. Last couple of days, we've been hearing from very senior devotees the choice of words we use to speak, how we convey with each other, with people around in general, not just devotees. We should be very careful. Suruchi, because she didn't realize that, oh, this is just a 5-year-old boy, I can speak anything. But because of that fact, Suruchi was given that end, and her brother also had to choose that end. We may wonder what Uttama had to do with this, right? So it's very, very, very sensitive when we are dealing with people in general, and especially devotees. It's something for us to always keep in mind. With that said, after Uttama was actually killed by the Yakshas, and Dhruva Maharaj actually wanted to take revenge, because you see, that's the characteristic of a pure devotee, is he did not see that. We even saw in the previous chapters that Dhruva Maharaj, he goes and hugs Uttama. Who will do that? After somebody is being totally chastised and criticized for not even a mistake that person has done, and that person goes and hugs the person who was actually the cause of all the problems. Because if Uttama was not on the lap of Uttanapad, Dhruva Maharaj could have easily been on his lap. But Dhruva Maharaj didn't see Uttama as his enemy. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, how we can judge ourselves, are we really advancing in spiritual life, is not to see anybody as an enemy. He says, even if an enemy comes to our home, at our doorsteps, we have to be happy to invite that person to our home. Very far away, at least myself. But that is our barometer of not seeing anybody as an enemy. If you are seeing somebody as envious, we cannot understand Krishna. Why? Because Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, this message can be understood only by who are non-envious. Bhagavatam says, Nirmat Saranam Satam. This Bhagavatam is meant for non-envious people. I can understand the story, I can understand the storyline, but the true import of the Srimad Bhagavatam will not be revealed to us if we are envious. Dhruva Maharaj, he took Uttama to be his life and soul, and he was a Kshatriya, and as a Kshatriya, he had to protect. So he is taking action, a proper action as a Kshatriya. He is not just remaining calm. Prabhupada told in one of the previous purports that we heard from Sri Krishna Prabhu yesterday that we shouldn't, just because we are devotees, we should keep quiet. When there is time, we have to take necessary actions. And in text 10, the Yakshas became intolerant seeing the prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, and they started attacking Dhruva Maharaj. And in text 11, 12, the description of what kind of weapons that the Yaksha soldiers were using is very elaborately given. That there were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaj were present. And all the different kinds of weapons that they were using, feathered arrows, swords, tridents, lances, spears, and pikes. And in text 13, Dhruva Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons. Incessant, they're innumerable. It is not even countable. Srimad Bhagavatam is mentioning, just as a mountain is covered by an incessant rainfall. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out in this connection that although Dhruva Maharaj was covered by the incessant arrows of enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed to the battle. The example of a mountain's peak being covered by incessant rain is just suitable. For when a mountain is covered by incessant rain, all dirty things are washed away from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. The other day we were hearing from Sundaranda Prabhuji, right? For a devotee, all the impediments are welcome. If we are truly, not even, I would say, Krishna conscious, but truly aware of what is happening around us. Dhruva Maharaj didn't take this incident that is coming. He's been completely attacked. Imagine he's solely going and trying to defeat the Yakshas, and he's completely covered over by all the weapons, like a rainfall, Bhagavatam explains. But here Prabhupada is writing, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaj a new vigor to defeat them. A devotee doesn't get succumbed to pressure. Because a devotee is internally striving to be Krishna conscious, Krishna gives the intelligence for the devotee to overcome difficulties in life. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upyantite. Tesham satata yuktanam. How much to the degree we are remembering Krishna during a particular day, to that degree Krishna will give us intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upyantite. To that degree Krishna will give us intelligence to tackle situations in our life. To the degree we are striving away from Krishna, to the degree we are striving away from devotees, to that degree Krishna will remove intelligence, because he is the one who gives us remembrance, forgetfulness, and intelligence. We cannot rely on ourselves, on our mundane brains, right? We're totally dependent on Krishna for everything in our life. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. You see, when so many difficult situations come in our life, sometimes we think, oh my God, what is happening? I mean, I'm trying to do whatever I can, but why so much thing is happening around me? But here Prabhupada is saying all his incompetencies, whatever he had, actually the opposite happened. He gained even more strength. This is exactly what Sunanda Prabhuji was saying. Devotees, when difficult situations come in their life, they gain more strength by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Taking opportunity to perform, taking that difficult situation as an opportunity to perform their whatever duty that has been given to them by Guru and Krishna, either material or spiritual. Let me do this for you, Krishna. Let me do this for you, Guru. this will please you. They don't want to succumb under that situation. And that can happen only when we take shelter of both of them on a regular basis. Otherwise, it cannot happen. And because Dhruva Maharaj was a soul surrendered devotee of Krishna, we saw in the previous chapter, he didn't want anything after having the darshan of Lord Vishnu. That is because he had the mercy of Sripad Narad Muni. Because he just told and he just did what exactly Sripad Narad Muni told. He was just a 5-year-old boy, very innocent. That is why our acharyas say we have to be very simple-hearted and innocent in bhakti. No crookedness. Oh, I will try to do something by myself. I will try to do something maybe that is comfortable for me. No, Dhruva Maharaj never did that. He just did whatever Sripad Narad Muni told. Exactly. Even though it was very difficult. He executed those orders. That's why he was able to do this. And in text 14, all the siddhas from the higher planetary systems were observing the fight from the sky. And they roared tumultuously. The grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost. They cried that Dhruva Maharaj was just like a son, and now he's been covered over by the ocean of the Yakshas. And now Prabhupada writes a very nice purport. He writes that not only Dhruva Maharaj is a descendant of Manu, but all human society descends from Manu. And that's where the word man comes from. Prabhupada writes elsewhere also. Everyone, therefore, in a human society is Manava. Is a descendant from Manu. But Dhruva Maharaj is distinguished Manava because he's a great devotee. Dhruva Maharaj was not just a descendant of Manu. He's a very great devotee. And Prabhupada also writes that the denizens of the planet Siddhaloka, they have the capability of flying even without airplanes because they have perfected the mystic siddhi. So within this material world, there are different planetary systems. And Siddhaloka is one of the planets where people who have perfected mystic siddhis reside there. And they were wondering what happened to Dhruva Maharaj. And Prabhupada is quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, very important statement for us to contemplate. Not only is a devotee well protected by Krishna, but all the demigods, even ordinary men, are anxious for his security and safety. You see, what does Siddhaloka men have to do? If they have mystic siddhis, they can go and enjoy their life. But Prabhupada is saying, if we practice bhakti to Krishna, even the demigods are anxious to give protection to that person. We sometimes feel, oh, I have been worshipping some devata before, but now I am worshipping only Krishna. Will that devata be upset with me? No. Because yesterday only we were discussing while taking prasadam that devatas are not ordinary personalities. They are devotees of Krishna. And if some other person is trying to become a devotee of Krishna, they will help. You see, they are feeling anxious for Dhruva Maharaj. And in the end, Prabhupada mentions that similarly, although Dhruva Maharaj appeared to be drowning in the ocean of the Yakshas, he had no difficulty. As we discussed in the previous verse, Dhruva Maharaj just rose. And Prabhupada gives the example of the sun. As the sun rises again in due course at the end of the night, Dhruva Maharaj, although he might have been in difficulty, it did not mean he was defeated. Kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhaktya pranashyati. Even if a devotee apparently, for some reason due to their own conditioning or some other reasons, some devotees behaving differently, we should not think, oh, why the devotee is behaving differently. We should just think maybe a particular devotee is undergoing transformation. It is all part of the cleansing process that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. That is how we need to see. Just like how our Sundarananda Prabhuji is mentioned in one of the videos that he shared, work in progress for all of us. We can tag ourselves and others, and probably some superiors, we have to look up to them. But some peers, we should think all of us are work in progress. So we should think that nobody is perfect. At least our peers, not nobody, at least our peers. And in text 15, the Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed that they had conquered Dhruva Maharaj. They temporarily thought. But in the meantime, Dhruva Maharaj's chariot suddenly appeared just as the sun suddenly appears within a foggy mist. So here Prabhupada writes, here Dhruva Maharaj is compared to the sun, and the great assembly of the Yakshas to the foggy mist. Prabhupada writes, our eyes may be covered by a cloud, but the sun is never covered. By this comparison to the sun, the greatness of Dhruva Maharaj in all circumstances is affirmed. Sometimes, due to our conditioning, we don't realize who are pure devotees, especially Srila Prabhupada disciples. We see from an external perspective and we judge. Nectar of Instruction also mentions in the 5th chapter that we should never judge a pure devotee based on their external deformities or how they look, how they speak, whether they stammer, whether they have some disease. No. Bhagavatam is clearly saying that Dhruva Maharaj, even though apparently he was put in a foggy mist by the Yakshas, he came brilliantly like a sun, because the sun sets and it comes on its own accord. So pure devotees also, we may think that from our external vision, really, I mean, is he a follower of Prabhupada? But we should really understand by their contribution to Prabhupada, right? Because we always think, oh, the other day I was hearing a very advanced version, he was saying that we think, oh, Krishna says, Janma Karma, not, he says, Tattvadarshinaha. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, who's a guru? You should approach a guru. And who's a Tattvadarshi, meaning who has seen Krishna, who has realized Krishna. But then the speaker was saying, well, if somebody has not realized Krishna or seen Krishna, does that mean that he cannot become a guru? What is the praman for that? And he was quoting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Prabhupada mentions this in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th verse, 7th or 8th verse, I may be wrong, in the purport. Whoever knows the signs of Krishna consciousness is qualified to become a guru. Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasa Shudra Kabu Nai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions. He has ordered everyone to become a guru. Means not just a Diksha guru. A person who has little bit of understanding, just goes and passes on the message about Krishna, is also a guru. We don't have to title ourselves as a guru, but we should see others. If somebody is enlightening us on Krishna consciousness, that person is a guru to us. And in text 16, Dhruva Maharaj bow and arrows twanged and hissed, causing lamentation in the hearts of his enemies. As soon as Dhruva Maharaj came out, he started releasing his arrows, causing lamentation in the hearts of the enemies. He created fear. And the sharp arrows released by the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemy like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven. And now we'll see in the series of verses what happened to the Yakshas. And Maitreya Rishi is describing to Vidura, the head of those were cut into pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj. And because they had all golden ornaments, Prabhupada writes in those days in the purport that the Kshatriyas had a lot of golden ornaments on their body. So when they were all chopped off and the hands were chopped off and everything, the whole battlefield was like as though it was covered with golden ornaments, because they were all covered with golden ornaments. And in text 20, the remaining Yakshas who somehow or the other were not killed had their limbs cut off by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva Maharaj, and they began to flee. And text 21, Dhruva Maharaj, the best of the human beings, observed that in the great battlefield, not one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. He then desired to see the city of Alagapuri, but he thought to himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic Yakshas. Because he understood that even though he is killing all the Yakshas, we cannot understand the plans of the Yakshas. You see, a pure devotee knows past, present, and future. Only a pure devotee can know past, present, and future, because he is empowered by Krishna. We should, somebody forwarded a WhatsApp forward or something. His Grace Arjun Saka Prabhu, he was quoting that simply by going and standing in front of a pure devotee, they will see our heart. They know our past, they know our future, everything they will know. We don't have to speak. When he came also, he was saying how he got his name from his spiritual master. They know everything. So Dhruva Maharaj knew that this is not over yet. And what happened? In meantime, while Dhruva Maharaj, doubtful of his mystic enemies, was talking with his charioteer, they heard a tremendous sound as if the whole ocean were there, and they found that from the sky a great dust storm was coming from all directions. Within a moment, the whole sky was overcast with dense clouds, and severe thundering was heard. There was glittering, electric lighting, and severe rainfall. And blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine, marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaj, and there were trunks of bodies falling from the sky. And this picture is there in Srimad Bhagavatam in the end, if you turn the backside of the cover of this particular volume. And next, a great mountain was visible in the sky. From all directions, hailstones fell, along with lances, clubs, swords, iron bludgeons, great pieces of stone. Dhruva Maharaj also saw many big serpents with angry eyes vomiting forth of fire and coming to devour him along with group of mad elephants. And then, as if it were the time of dissolution, the whole fierce sea with foaming waves and great roaring sounds came forward before him. The demon yakshas are by nature very heinous, and by their demoniac power of illusion, they created strange phenomena to frighten one who is less intelligent. So all this was an illusion created by the yakshas. See, the yakshas were not only powerful beings, they could create illusion. And we can consider this illusion to also be the illusion that is there around us. And that is the purport of the verse 30. Prabhupada is giving us. When a devotee is striving to be Krishna conscious, we may not be sincere. I am not very sincere. But we are striving to be sincere. Krishna sends his devotee to us to help. It may not be even a spiritual master. It could be peers. It could be some advanced devotees. It could be anybody. But if a devotee is sincere, Krishna will send his representative to help us in that situation. And Prabhupada writes in text 30, the purport, the great rishis approached Dhruva Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to the magical feats exhibited by the yakshas. As a devotee is always protected by Krishna, please listen to this carefully. By his inspiration only, the sages came to encourage Dhruva Maharaj and assure him that there was no danger because he was a soul fully surrendered to Krishna. What does it mean to be surrendered to Krishna? To perform the will of Krishna, to perform the will of his representative, which is what Dhruva Maharaj did his entire life. When Dhruva Maharaj got the darshan of Lord Vishnu, he said, I don't want anything in life. I've been looking for broken pieces of glass whole my life, but I have seen you. What else do I want in my life? But Lord Vishnu told him, no, you be a king. And that is what is meant by fully surrendered to Krishna, executing the order of Krishna. Because Dhruva Maharaj was a king, not just for 1 year, 2 years, 36,000 years. Can we imagine? This can happen only in Satya Yuga. But he was there as a king for such a long time. Because he was surrendered to Krishna's will, Krishna is bound to protect his devotee. And when Dhruva Maharaj was in such, he didn't know. It doesn't mean that a pure devotee was illusioned. Pure devotee is willing to be in illusion also for the pleasure of Krishna. And here, Krishna, because he was fighting to fulfill the order of Krishna, ruling the kingdom, Krishna sends his representatives, the Brahmanas, to remind him. And what are they reminding? They are saying, therefore, simply by chanting the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from the fierce death without difficulty. Thus, a devotee is saved. And this is what Prabhupada is writing the purport. By the grace of Krishna, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, he simply surpasses the great ocean of the material sky and enters the spiritual sky. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can surpass the ocean of death. So Dhruva Maharaj was certainly able to surpass the illusory magical feats, which for the time being disturbed his mind. So last couple of days we have been hearing probably a lot about the mind and how our mind in different relationships and different circumstances actually confuses, right? So here a solution is given. What to do when our mind is perplexed? When our mind is perplexed, simply close our eyes and remember Krishna. And the easiest way to remember Krishna is chanting his holy names. Prabhupada is telling here. Because our mind cannot be controlled of anything of this world. Mind is Krishna's energy. We cannot control. And Acharya says, we cannot control our mind. Because Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Bhumi Rapor Analo Vayu Kham Manor Buddhi Revacha Ahankara Itiyamme Binna Prakridir Ashtata. He says that mind is also energy of Krishna. It is not even ours. So how can we control our mind? We cannot. Only Krishna can control. And we can call out to Krishna, Krishna, please. I'm in total illusion. Please protect me. Simply, it is just an exchange of dialogue. We can remember like this while chanting. I wanted to read a story, but I don't have a time. I don't know whether we have time. Just maybe 5 minutes I will take. Because this incident is very, very similar. It's very difficult to not be connected with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he came to this world to teach us in practical these situations. When these situations, he came to teach us that when such situations come, what a devotee does. Because he came as a devotee. Krishna spoke Gita and left. But then he thought that I have not showed them how to be a devotee. So he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he didn't come alone. He came along with his parshads, his devotees. And in one instant, it is mentioned by Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami. One day, some people suddenly came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and told him that Gopinath Patnaik, the son of Bhavananda Rai, has been condemned to death by the eldest prince and has been raised on the Changa. Changa means in those days, 400, 500 years ago, if somebody had to be given severe punishment, they'll be taken from a height and they'll be pushed down from that height and there'll be Changa, raised swords so that they will fall and it's like a death sentence for that person. Painful. It's not immediate killing also. You will be killed slowly for the amount of pain that person has created. Very terrible death. But Lord Chaitanya asked for the reason. He asked why, what happened suddenly, why Gopinath Patnaik had to be arrested by the prince. Then the devotees replied, Gopinath Patnaik is actually a government treasurer. He had to give some balance due because he was given the responsible position to collect taxes and he had to give some money to the kingdom. But he was not able to repay fully. So Gopinath Patnaik requested for some time to pay and asked to immediately take his 10 or 12 good horses for proper price. So until I give back the remaining money, you can take my 10 or 12 horses. So the prince knew how to negotiate and get the horses at a cheaper price. But Gopinath Patnaik got angry that he is trying to cheat me. So because Gopinath Patnaik got angry, actually many lessons are there in this pastime, but we don't have the time. I'm just narrating the story. But Gopinath Patnaik, because he got angry at the prince and he was trying to imitate the king, had a mannerism that he was also doing like this, like the horse. So he started imitating the prince and the prince got very angry. Oh, you have not given your money. How dare you imitate me? So he put Gopinath Patnaik and gave him death sentence, the Changa sentence. Because Prince went and told the king. King was King Prataprudra, whom we spoke about last time. He was such a great devotee. But king didn't know all these details. He just said, you do whatever it takes to get the money. That's it. He was not worried. He was not too much into pure devotees are like that. They don't want to get into details. You do the needful. So the prince said, fine, let me give him Changa sentence. And this is how he got this punishment. And Mahaprabhu says, what is the king's fault in punishing Gopinath Patnaik? Gopinath's duty is to collect money on behalf of government, but he squanders it to see dancing girls. Mahaprabhu is chastising Gopinath Patnaik. Something for us to learn also. We should be very careful when we are dealing with the local government also. Whatever taxes, tax season is there. Whatever taxes we are meant to pay to the government, we should pay. We should not try to find some nuances and try to gain some dollars here and there. Whatever is needed, we need to pay. Even if we have to pay out of pocket, we have to pay. At that time, someone came with the news that Vaninath Raya, who was a brother, Gopinath Patnaik and Vaninath Raya, there are 5 brothers. We don't have time to say who those 5 brothers were. But this Vaninath Rai and his entire family was arrested by the prince because Gopinath Patnaik was involved. And Lord Chaitanya said the king must realize now, because Lord Chaitanya knew that the entire family were devotees. So he's saying the king must realize the money that is due. But still, I am a sannyasi. Why do you want me to get involved in all these things? Right? A sannyasi will never want to get involved in family affairs. So we should be very careful not to involve sannyasis in family affairs. So all the members, including Ramananda Rai's family, were all your eternal servants. But now they are in danger. It is not befitting for you to be indifferent to them like this. See how the devotees are going and petitioning to the Lord. They are not saying, oh, this is my own business. Let them, whatever happen, let it happen for them. They are praying to Krishna. When a devotee prays to Krishna for another devotee's trouble, Krishna must listen. This I heard from my spiritual master. When somebody else is struggling in Krishna consciousness, if we pray for the devotee, Krishna will listen. Because we are praying for the benefit of his part and parcel. Why Krishna shouldn't listen? Krishna will listen and Krishna will do the needful to bring back the devotee. Then another person came with the news that Gopinath had already been set up to be thrown upon the point of swords. The devotees again appealed to the Lord, but the Lord said, I am a beggar. It is impossible for me to do anything about this. If you want to save him, pray together to Lord Jagannath. He is the Supreme Lord and he can freely do and undo whatever he likes. See, Mahaprabhu came as a devotee. He doesn't show himself outwardly that I am Lord Jagannath. He is saying you go to Lord Jagannath and pray together so that whatever Jagannath will desires, he will take care. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied in this way, an officer named Harichandana Patra went to the king and spoke, after all, Gopinath Patnaik is your faithful servant. To condemn such a servant to death is not good. His only fault was he just owes some money. Why don't you just get that money somehow? Why you're putting him into death sentence and all? So this Harichandra went and spoke to King Prataprudra. And Prataprudra was very surprised. Really? All these things are happening? I did not know. I just told my prince to go and get the money. I did not know all these things are happening. And in this way, Mahaprabhu also is getting displeased. So he immediately gave order to the prince, release everybody. And Gopinath Patnaik was taken down from the Changa. Then the government took his horses for a proper price and time was set for paying the balance and Gopinath was released. It's a big pastime, but I will finish with this because this is connected to the last verse that we read today. How Dhruva Maharaj took shelter of the holy name. And now you see what Mahaprabhu is asking. Mahaprabhu is inquiring from the messenger. The messenger comes and tells Gopinath Patnaik is released, his family is released. You see what Mahaprabhu is asking. What was Vaninath Raya doing when he was arrested and put in the jail? The messenger replied, he was fearlessly, incessantly chanting the holy names. Hearing this, the Lord was very pleased. Vaninath Raya, one of the 5 brothers, along with Gopinath Patnaik, they were all put into jail. But just like how Dhruva Maharaj had this conviction by the mercy of the Brahmanas, he remembered Krishna by chanting his holy names incessantly. Even Srila Krishna Kaviraj Goswami mentions he was counting. Prabhupada gave us beads for what? For counting the Mahamantra. He was counting and he was putting lines on his body. How many Mahamantras he was chanting. It is even mentioned he was chanting Krishna's name, Krishna mantra. He was chanting Krishna's names in difficult situation. And he was not worrying What will happen to me? Whether I will die in jail, whether Mahaprabhu will save me? No. Total conviction of a pure devotee is even under dire circumstances, their soul surrendered to Krishna. I will stop with this example. Prabhupada, when he was a very famous example, all of us might have heard this, very famous example. I think it was back in those days when some kind of war situation was going on. Bombs were being dropped around Calcutta area, somewhere around that area. And Prabhupada was busy cooking puris for his Radha Krishna deities. I was hearing one Prabhupada disciple sharing memories of Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada used to every day chant, I think it was Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He was mentioning that every day he was chanting his rounds as a grihastha. He had not become a vanaprastha or a sannyasi. As a grihastha, every day he was chanting his rounds, worshipping his deities, stitching clothes for the deities, cooking for the deities, all by himself. This is Srila Prabhupada. And it is mentioned that while all this chaos was going around, Prabhupada was busy cooking puris for his Radha Krishna deities. And when Prabhupada saw the chaotic situation outside, he was mentioning that, oh, Krishna has come in the form of death. This is what we need to pray for. This consciousness, I may not be there now, but this is what will attract Krishna. And this is the only way to attract Krishna. Lord Brahma mentions this in his prayers. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam hrid vak vapurbir. By mind, body and words, if we remember Krishna in difficult situations, Krishna is always there to protect us. We saw this example in Dhruva Maharaj, and throughout the pages of our scriptures that Srila Prabhupada has given us, this theme is always there. And our acharyas mentioned, if we are serious to go back home, back to Godhead, we have to remember this, that whatever difficulty situations come in our life, we have to seek guidance and remain faithful to Guru and Krishna. We may not be perfect. We are not perfect, but we have to remain faithful. I'll stop here. Went over by a few minutes. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. I am offering my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vamsi and Prabhu. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.